all of our trading was Pacific. And when Bastogne was surrounded, the Battle of the Bulge, we were sent to Europe. Our first battle was a 45-day battle with no clean clothes, no clean underwear, nothing hot in my stomach, a roof over our head 2 nights, and getting shot at every day for $30 a month minus $9 for insurance.
You are about to embark upon the Great Crusade.
To meet this mounting aggression.
And make no mistake about it, good will prevail.
I was a 15-year-old kid working on a sports fishing boat, and it was a Sunday morning. We'd had good luck fishing the day before, but nothing this Sunday. So I was up on the top playing around with the radio and heard the radio broadcast. And I didn't pay that much attention to it because we'd had a 3 or 4 years early invasion from Mars on a radio program that got everybody shook up. And, 15-year-old kid, so I called the captain. He came up and started checking different channels and talking to people, and sure enough, the war had started. So they wouldn't let us back in the harbor until dusk, just before dark. And they had submarine nets in Long Beach. So they opened the submarine nets and you could get out. And they took 2 or 3 people, I think it was 3 people off our boat that didn't have any identification. And that was the last day of sport fishing until the war was over out of Long Beach. So my job ended on that day. Went into the Army March the 30th, had graduated from high school in February, signed up for the draft in December, had my physical in January. Went into basic training at Camp Roberts, California, then transferred into the 97th Infantry Division. All of our trading was Pacific. And when Bastogne was surrounded, the Battle of the Bulge, we were sent to Europe. We were in a convoy, so it took us, I think, 12 or 14 days. And we were on a refit pre-war luxury liner, and we were the 5th deck down. We were below the waterline, so if a torpedo hit our ship, we were all doomed. And we could go on deck for 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the afternoon, and they were stacked 5 high with our duffel bag and rifle in our bed, and they let them smoke in the hole. So it wasn't a pleasure trip, but by the time we got there, it had subsided. We didn't get in any battles at Bastogne, but we were there. And then we went on into central Germany along the Ruhr Valley, along the Rhine River, and our first battle was a 45-day battle with no clothes, new clothes, no change of underwear, no hot food in my stomach, a roof over our head 2 nights, and getting shot at every day for $30 a month minus $9 for insurance. We were initiated at Siegburg on our way to Dusseldorf, and it took us 45 days, and the Russians were coming from the other side into Dusseldorf. So that was our objective, and it took that long, and it was no fun, but you didn't have time to think about it. You just tried to stay alive and well. And at night we would stand guard an hour and sleep an hour. So we never had enough sleep. So if we had a 15-minute break, I could sleep 10 minutes of it. I was a BAR man in infantry platoon. The BAR was a great weapon, weighed 19 pounds. The M1 rifle, I would think, weighed 8 pounds. But it had the firepower of a automatic machine gun, but it only had 20-round magazines, so I carried a belt full of magazines around my belt and a bandolier over my shoulder, and I had an assistant. He did the same thing, so I had plenty of ammunition. So next to the machine guns, I was the target before the M1s. We had a bazooka in I still don't know where it came from, but we had one, and we got a rogue tank crossed our path, and we knocked it out with that bazooka. And I was the first one to the tank, and the officer come up the hatch, and he's looking down the barrel of my BAR, and he had a great-looking jacket on, fur lined. So I took his jacket and I took his Luger. I took all the fur out of that jacket and hand-sewed it into my a field jacket, a little bit at a time whenever I could. And I got hit with flak after that, but with a wool undershirt, a wool shirt, a wool sweater, my field jacket with all that fur in, it just kind of stuck in my back like if you backed into a cactus. But it did draw blood, but there was nowhere to go but stay down, so I never did get to a medic. And oddly enough, our radio man was a small-statured man, and he carried his big radio on his back and stayed with the captain. He tripped and fell, skinned his hand, and there was a medic there, so he treated it and filled out a card, got the Purple Heart. Well, we holed up in a little wooded area one night, and we had to go through a big open space for this next town to clear, and they brought up 5 tanks to lead us through this big open space. But from that point, the road had a U-turn a little ways down the road, and the Germans had that down to the inch. They knocked out those 5 tanks one by one, and our high-end brass sent us anyway, and we almost got annihilated. They wanted to get us to Dusseldorf before the Russians. If we waited a day and got some more support, it would have helped. And as we went through that open space, all hell broke loose, machine gun fire. My next step was going to be in a bomb crater, so I just dove in head first and spent the whole day in that crater until dark. They brought up some mortar smoke, and my squad leader jumped in from the other side, and we spent the day there. And me as a 19-year-old kid, I'd take my helmet off and try to see if maybe I could get a shot at them, and I could feel the fire. They sent a blast. They knew I was in there, or we were in there, and they sent a blast to the buildup of that bomb crater, so we couldn't get out until dark. And the next day we went through, but they kind of retreated then, so it wasn't that bad. But we took a big toll that day. Everybody out in the open when they opened fire with their machine guns were superior to ours. They put out 1,100 rounds a minute, and ours would put out 550. You could hear them sometimes, or that was the difference in firepower. You get a little hardened to things, and it's shoot before you're shot, and so it just becomes your way of life at the moment. You think about things, and then when things start, you don't have time to think about things. You just do what everyone else is doing. It's the bang bang shoot 'em up of a war, which is horrible. We thought we were going to stay in Dusseldorf for a few days, and I was next up for a 3-day trip to the French Riviera. And all of a sudden, grab your stuff and let's go. We got into trucks and headed east. That's when we were transferred into Patton's Third Army. And the truck stopped after 2 or 3 hours, and we got out. There was a big covered plunge, Olympic-style pool, and the engineers had got the heaters going. We stopped. We all got in and took a communal bath in that, and we got clean clothes. And that was heaven on earth. A rider came through and told us the war was over. The Germans had surrendered, and we weren't quite ready to quit. I always explain it like a football game. You got 15 seconds left, you're on the half-yard line, and you're behind 4 points, and the clock ends, the game's over. You want one more play. But then the next day, it all sunk in, and we were very grateful. Well, we went back to France, and then we were told we're going to have the month of July at home, USA. And there was a long pause, and they said, however, you will be getting 6 weeks of training and onto the Pacific to the invasion of Japan. So we had that in the back of our head the month of July that we were home. So we went back to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, first part of August, supposed to have 6 weeks training, and the Japanese surrendered on August the 14th. The next week we were in Seattle and on freighters, half loaded on freighters, and shipped out. We didn't get the full 6 weeks. But 2 days at sea, they came down with the ruling all GIs that had 45 points or more didn't have to leave the United States. And we all had more than 45 points. So we spent 37 days on a freighter from Seattle to Yokohama. 10 days coming back, but 37 days to get there. We stopped in Hawaii for a couple days. We stopped in the Philippines but didn't get off the ship. We stopped at Iwo Jima and got to see all the remains of that battle with the 6,500 white crosses at the far end of the airport. Or the airport, it was just a landing strip. It's such a small island. And then we went to sea. A typhoon was coming, and then back to Iwo. Then we sat in Tokyo Bay for 2 days and became the second shipload to unload on Japanese soil. Well, we were just occupational troops, and we didn't know what to expect when we got off the ship, but there was nothing I ever saw or heard of that there was any repercussion or uprisings of any kind. And we were sent to about 40 miles north of Tokyo to it was a big airport with big hangars, and our whole company was in one hangar, 250 men in one hangar, cots all over the place. And there was a notice on the bulletin board that tryouts for the football team, division football team. And I would have been next in line for squad leader, staff sergeant, but I thought I was a football player, so I went out for the team and made the team. So they transferred me into the MP platoon for the division. And that was much, much different than being in the infantry. That's kind of a funny story. Okay. I had got transferred into the MP platoon because I made the football team. And toward the end when they were breaking down our division, we were transferred into 1st Cavalry. A buddy of mine that I went to high school with and all through the war with was transferred into the headquarters company, and he contacted me, didn't get any beer ration, could I help him? So I said, sure, I'll call down to the guardhouse. We got a lot of Japanese beer out back, so help yourself. And that was the end of it, I thought. But then I got a call from our provost marshal that Colonel had them out for inspection on Saturday morning, and they all showed up a little inebriated. And he asked where they got this beer. I gave it to him. So I got court-martialed. So I lost the stripes I had. Oh, no. But I said, as long as it doesn't bother holding me up from going home, I don't care. So I went in the Army as a private and exited the Army as a private.
If you're enjoying this video, you should join our exclusive Patreon community to receive early access to videos each week, the chance to send questions to our heroes, and much more. We scour the country to identify, film, share, and preserve these first-hand battlefield accounts, and time is of the essence. To join our mission, visit patreon.com/American Veterans Center or click the link in our description. It's up to each of us to guard their legacy and honor their sacrifice.